I don't know, ladies, but I always jump to the very worst scenario. And that was, he with a chick. He with a chick. Hey guys, what's up? It's Erica here. Welcome back to my channel, Erica's Diary. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you do not miss another video. So my channel is basically about my thoughts, my journey, things that I've been through, things that I've overcome, things that I'm going through, in hopes that it resonates with some of you out there, in hopes that, you know, it may inspire you to keep going with your healing journey, as I am also. So today I want to share with you guys about a situationship that I had. Lord. And in my defense, I actually did not intend to land in a situationship, but this was something that happened, and it really was like a catalyst moment in my growth as a woman, and as being able to value myself and realize, like, you deserve more than this. So I'm gonna start from the point where, if you have not seen my last video called Boy Bye, where I talk about my dating app fiasco, and then at the end of that video I did let you know that I had actually met someone as soon as I deleted my dating apps. So that leads me to here. So I deleted the dating app in February 2020, and I will pause right there by saying, in January 2020 I journaled and I prayed that, you know, God would send me a new love, that I'm ready to, you know, and I'm ready and open to that possibility and meeting, you know, the person that you have for me and all of those things. So I remember writing down 3 specific words, and one of the words I wrote was, I wanted somebody who was anointed. And that's a very, very specific word. People aren't usually saying that in their normal vocabulary, right? So I was like, okay, God said, God wants you to be specific in your prayers. That's what I'm going to do. And literally wrote it down in January. So February hits, deleted the dating app. My friend actually came in town, and I just kind of wanted to show her around a little bit. And we went out to this downtown area where I live. It's really cool. It's like a strip of bars where they have live music, good food, and things like that. And it's always crowded on a Saturday night. So randomly, I'm standing there waiting for my lift, and I meet this person. And I honestly, you guys, I can't tell you how the interaction happened or what happened. I just remember the next day I had his name and number in my phone, and he texted me, and, you know, me being a smartass, I don't know why I do this, but I'm like a smartass thinking that's flirting, and it's not. It's not cute, girl. It's not. Stop it. But I was being a smartass to him, and I was like, you probably don't even remember my name, like, and all that kind of stuff, knowing I didn't even remember what he looked like or anything. So he ended up sending me a song that was titled Erica. And it's a song by Dom Kennedy, you guys. Like, I thought that was the cutest thing. So me not remembering what he looked like at all, I'm like, so who do people tell you look like? Or do you have an IG page? Like, and so I immediately went to his IG page, and I was like, whew, okay. My type completely. He's definitely my preference. Dark skin, athletic build. And for me, I don't know why I love tattoos. I don't have not one tattoo on my body, but on a man, if you got tattoos, I'm like, yes. So anyway, he was definitely my type. And from that day forward, we had talked pretty much. No, we had talked. I won't say pretty much. We talked every single day, all day. Whether it's text, but the majority of the time was FaceTime. And it doesn't matter what he's doing or what I was doing, we was always on the phone with each other. Now, mind you, February 2020, like 2 weeks later, the world shut down. So I had only hung out with him maybe 2 or 3 times before the world shut down. But one of those times that I was hanging out with him, I noticed his tattoos, and he had anointed tattooed in big ass letters right there. And I was like, God, hold on, is this a sign? Or am I tripping? That was so crazy to me, because I had wrote that down 2 months prior to me even meeting this person. So I was like, God. But of course, I didn't tell him that. I didn't want him to like freaking run or whatever. So I just noted it. I was like, that is so crazy to me. So when the pandemic hit, he was actually moved to a different city for about 6 months. And so during that time, we still talked every single day. It didn't matter if I was working, or he was golfing, or I was, doing whatever I'm doing, and then he's doing whatever he's doing. We were always on the phone with each other at all times. And so we were really getting to know each other, and I really felt like he was being himself with me. I was being myself with him. It wasn't awkward. Nothing was forced. Everything flowed. It was cool. So I remember maybe like 4 or 5 months into us knowing each other, I was like in my kitchen doing my dishes, and I thought about him, and it just dawned on me. I was like, girl, you like him. You like him. And I'm like, dang, I was like, I don't know what is happening. Okay. I done did all this dating app stuff, and then here you go. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, okay, Erica, just admit you found somebody that you liked. Okay, period. I kept that to myself. So, because I was like, I don't want to ruin nothing. Things are flowing good. I don't want to ruin anything. So then we ended up having a conversation. He hits me with, I want to be free. I don't want a girlfriend. If I hear that one more time, I should have $1 for every time I've ever heard that. I would be a millionaire. Ask me how I really feel about that statement. So I was like, okay, well, things are cool. I'm not about to, ruin it by, just doing too much. I was like, I'm playing this cool. Things are going fine. And that's it. But it did disappoint me, because I'm like, for me, whenever I think about building a relationship with somebody, to be in a relationship, I always think about having the bond of a friendship. That is very important to me. And I was like, the bond that we were building is what would be perfect to go into a relationship with somebody, because you're being yourself with that person. They know everything about you. He shared some deep secrets with me that he didn't even share with his mom, who is his like ride or die person. So for a man to share things like that with you, I've seen the good side of him, I've seen the bad side of him, I've seen him sick, I've seen him mad, I've seen him cry, I've seen him frustrated, I've seen him being creative, I've seen him, tired, exhausted. Like, I've seen every emotion out of him that you should be able to have seen in somebody before you decide, oh, you want to be with that person. And vice versa. He has seen me the same way. He seen me with my bonnet on, my glasses, my wig, or my real hair. It doesn't matter. Like, I am who I am. I didn't feel like I had to be a certain way, look a certain way for him to be interested. So part of me felt like he was interested, because I don't know any man that is going to call you every day, put all that time in every single day for somebody that they're not interested in. But I think that it just got tricky right when I realized I liked him, and then he hit me with the I don't want a girlfriend. It's kind of like, well, okay, Erica, how do you navigate this? So we did have the conversation where I was like, look, my friends, okay? So we're not doing that. We're not going to that way at all. That's not what we're doing. We're not doing it, okay? I made that clear. I said all of that big talk while he wasn't living here. So then he finally comes back around like August, and we got to hang out a lot, and things were cool. You know, there was no like crossing lines or anything like that. And September rolls around, which is my birthday month. Shout out to all you Virgos. So September rolls around, and I have like a small gathering with my friends on this at this restaurant, like on their patio. And I invited him. He shows up, and he has, you know, he invited some of his friends. And so it was the first time that we actually got to hang out with each other's group of friends. So he got to see my people. He got to see me outside, you know, because normally, you know, being quarantined, you would just see me at home working with my bonnet on. Like, I'm more than that, because honestly, before the pandemic, you would have to catch me. Either I was on a plane or I was somewhere not at home, you know. So it was cool because he got to see me in my element with my people, and vice versa. But also, it was the first time around August, September, it was the first time that I had met his mom, who is like, you know, his ride or die, like I said earlier. And so I felt like that was important. And he was working on a brand that he was building. So I remember he wanted to have a product shoot, and I have a lot of like film equipment and things like that. So I was helping him with his product shoot in my home, and he invited his mom over, and that was the first time that I actually was able to meet her. And I really feel like she took, you know, a liking to me, which could be hard because I could tell she don't play about her boy, which I don't blame her. I would be the same way. So he would like take me and her out to dinner. You know, it was he had me around her, you know, a lot. There were times where they were together. He would call me, and she would be like, "Girl, come out with us." So I knew that she took a liking to me, right? She would even like joke and call me daughter, because I would call, if I saw her, I'd be like, "Hey, mom." She'd be like, "Hey, daughter," and then his ass would be like, "Ain't no daughters over here." Sir, let your mama say what she said now. Mamas be knowing. So, but anyway. So cut to my birthday festivities. My actual birthday comes along, and he actually had went out of town a couple of days before that, and I didn't really hear from him, which was kind of a red flag for me, because I was like, we talk every single day. Why am I not hearing from you? You rarely responding, you rarely texting. So for me, I don't know, ladies, but I always jump to the very worst scenario, and that was he with a chick. And so on my actual birthday, he ended up sending me a video that was like, you know, telling me that he appreciated me, that he loved me, that he, you know, glad that he met me and all this stuff. It was really cute. I really appreciated it. But he never called at all on my whole entire birthday. The whole 24 hours, never called me. And I thought that was weird, because I'm like, I always talk to you. You always call me. Red flag. So, I skipped a part, you guys. My bad. I'm just kind of jumping back and forth. But earlier that month, I had told him how I felt about him. I told him that I loved him. I told him I feel like he's a significant person in my life, and like just how much I care about him. And some other things too that were like really deep, and I'm not gonna share right now. But he ended up responding and telling me that he loved me too. So I was like, okay, great. We on the same page as far as how we feel about each other, and okay, great. And the thing about him is that he's not emotionally expressive, like at all. Like at all. Like it's almost like the more he cares about you, the less he's gonna tell you. So for him to say that was a big step, right? So, okay, back to where I was about not calling me on my birthday. I thought that was weird. I ain't say nothing, but I thought it was weird. But I noted it in my head. And then he ends up coming into town, and I go to my parents' house, because it's a tradition in my home, my family's home, that we always celebrate whoever's birthday it is. We will like decorate the kitchen table and like buy a cake and like blow out the candles. I don't care that I'm a whole adult. I'm up there waiting to blow out my candles, okay? And so I decided to invite him over for that, and he came with me, and it was really, really fun. That was the first time he got to, you know, meet my whole family, and you know, just got to see me again in my element with my folks. And that's a really big deal for me, is to be able to introduce somebody to my family, friend or not, but you a guy. So it takes a lot to get there with me. So things were just flowing naturally and all of that. So then eventually he ends up telling me why he, like, who he was with when he went out of town, which I was correct. It was a chick who he tells me that it was somebody that he used to mess with, and that, you know, it was just a fling, and it was a random, like, oh, let's go on a road trip today. Like, it wasn't anything planned or anything like that. So I ain't no dummy. So I ain't like that, because I was like, okay, I told you how I felt about you, and then you do this. Okay, cool. And I was pissed, and I just totally, like, withdrew from him. And even, like, there was one time where I just really wasn't responding to him. I wasn't really being, like, here with him like I always am. And he even noticed it, because there was one day that he wanted to come over here with his mom and have lunch with me, and I was like, okay, like, because your mama here, like, I'll let you do because of your mother. So even when he was over here, I really wasn't interacting with him like that. Like, I was being nice, but I wasn't as, like, engaged with him. And he noticed it. He was like, there's something wrong. He's like, you're like disengaged. Like, what is wrong? And I was like, I'm not ready to talk to you about it yet. Because I had to sort through my feelings. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know you like him. You told him how you felt about him. And he out here doing this. And you shouldn't be surprised, because he told you that he didn't want no girlfriend. But I'm like, it still don't negate the fact that I told you how I felt about you. So that's why I feel some type of way. What female wouldn't? Please name one. Especially when I don't have no hoes on my line. I'm just saying. So, things kept happening like that with him. It was always something about a chick, or an ex chick. It's not one just any chick, because, like, he would, like, invite me with his friends, like his guy friends, out, and I would go, because, you know, I wanted to be around him. I wanted to hang out, like, whatever. He would invite me, and he would just do the most, as far as, you know, he would do something like go to another table where there's all women that he don't know, and he'll just sit with them and talk to them the whole time. And I'm sitting here with his homeboys that I barely know, just there. And there was one time where we couldn't find him, and I'm sitting, you know, there with his things, his items, and I go outside, and he's having a full-fledged conversation with his ex in person. And I'm like, you think I'm gonna stand here and wait for you to finish your conversation when my whole entire vehicle is right there? No, I literally left and walked to my car and left, and we had drove to that place together. But his roommate was there, so it wasn't like he was stranded, or the ex could have took you home. I mean, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And so when I realized that it wasn't gonna work for me. And there was also the time where we did cross the line, and I did all this big talking, like, oh, we ain't crossing the line, I'm not doing this, blah blah blah. Well, we ended up crossing the line, of course. So now I'm in a situationship. So whenever I would go out and I would see him do that, it would just bother me, because I'm like, I would not do that with you. So why are you doing that? And then at the end of the day, he would try to downplay it, like, well, you're my friend. What? Like, don't try to downplay what this is and what this ain't. Okay? You're downplaying it. And I told him, one thing that I appreciate about myself is that I never hold my tongue, as far as meaning that I will always stand up for myself. It did take me a while to actually vocalize how I was feeling about, you know, our friendship. So I remember just sitting him down, and I was like, hey, we got to reestablish our friendship boundaries, because the way you moving, I can't do it. I can't deal with it. So I was like, I'm not trying to tell you how you need to move, but I'm telling you How you move is how I move with you. So if you out here all up in your ex's face and doing all this stuff in my face, don't expect me not to move out the way. And when I got in my car that night and left, I was pissed. And then the next day, he was pissed off at me because I left. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but instead of me flipping some tables up in here, I left. So bye. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't know who you think I am or who you thought I was. I'm not doing it. And so when I had the conversation, I was like, you know, I just laid it all out there. I was like, we need to reestablish friendship boundaries. I was like, I'm not going to be staying over your house. I'm not going to be sleeping over there. I'm not going to be, you know, doing all this, you know. And his resolution for was, well, maybe we can't be friends because you can't separate your feelings. What? I'm sorry, what? Because I'm giving you another chance. Don't act like you're doing me no favors, right? So that just told me that, first of all, that was kind of manipulative, but it just told me that he probably was not used to nobody sitting him down and telling him, look, this is what you're not about to do with me. This is where you had me up at. Let me show you. This is where you had me up at. And if, you know, I didn't stand up for myself, who was going to stand up for me? So he was telling me that, you know, he knows what he has in front of him as far as like what he has at the table in front of him with me, but he just ain't ready for that, and he just don't want, you know, that, and he knows he would mess up with me and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, we just reestablish our friendship boundaries. I can't be doing all this and you doing all that. So that's when it started to get messy. But the thing is, it wasn't about us crossing the line, because like I said, I had already knew how I felt about him before he even moved back. So before any of that happened, if we would have never crossed no boundary in that kind of way, my feelings would still be the same because they were that then before. So it's not like, oh my gosh, now you need to be with me. Like, no. I knew how I felt before. So that's how I knew it was real. So I felt like, don't play me in my face when I sat here and told you how I felt about you, and you think that I'm going to be cool with you having your exes and this ex and going out of town with this ex and this ex coming in town and you messing with her. And then, like, no, I'm not. So the thing was, I realized that I took on a lot from somebody who ain't even mine. Why? And I guess I just had in my mind that, like, this is the perfect type of chemistry with somebody. And I just don't understand why you don't want that. But the kicker is, we had many tit for tat moments, like just me getting upset, me telling him, look, you ain't about to do this to me, and then he do something else, and then I'm like, look, you ain't about to do this to me, then he do something else. The thing that really had me just like, was that the same person that he went out of town with during my birthday, I had actually went to his home because he invited me over to help him with something, with one of his product shoots again. And I'm literally in his home helping set up the stuff because it's my equipment, and I'm helping him set all of that up. And she comes walking into his apartment and closes the door, and I'm like, and I pay attention, so I know exactly who that is. And I'm looking at him like, and so I just, you know, kept it cool, finished my little stuff, gathered my things, and went to my car. He's walking me to my car, and I just gave him the look of death, and I was like, are you playing with me right now? And he was like, oh, well, she been staying here for a minute. So she living with you, but you don't want a girlfriend, but she just a fling, but she living with you. That don't make sense, bruh. So at that point, I remember leaving his apartment, but I had all my stuff over his place still, but I was so mad that I just left. I didn't care. I left. And I sent him a message, and I was like, I thought you would have more respect for me than that. Knowing how I feel about you, but I thought you would have more respect for me than that by saying, you know what, I know you're about to come over here and help me, but so-and-so, she's been staying here for a minute, so I just want you to know so you won't be thrown off. Instead of me walking into a situation, I don't know what the hell going on. Because I was like, I would never do that to you. You would never have to worry about being in my home and some random dude come in my apartment and I'm be like, oh yeah, he living with me. you would be like, what? So he felt like I shouldn't be mad because none of his other friends are mad and I'm just his friend. Okay, cool. So that was the end of that. And it just took me so long to like get myself to a point where it's like, why do you take all this on from people that aren't for you? Or why do you take all this on from people that aren't yours? Because the last thing I want is somebody that's not mine. And the last thing I want is somebody who is everybody's. And long story short, I remember breaking down and going back to him, and we ended up, making up or whatever. And then, like, just a couple of weeks after that, I just completely lost control of myself. I'm usually very controlled, but I lost control of myself, and I was pushing up on him like I wanted him or whatever. And he, the whole time, he's like, Erica, I don't know what you're doing, but like you never do this, and like, what are you doing? And I was just like, what? And at that moment, he was like, you low-key disrespecting yourself. He's like, I told you, like, I don't want to do like that. He was like, I want to be on these hoes. I'm for the streets. Like, that's literally what he kept telling me. And I'm like, well, I don't care what you're doing in these streets. And then he was like, no, you're disrespecting yourself. And I remember saying, Erica, you're what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you settling? In that moment, I knew I was settling. So after that incident, I remember him literally telling me to leave and him walking away from me. And we never talked ever again. And that was the most hurtful thing. It was just freaking crazy. It was like a lot of emotion, a lot of frustration on my end, because I just could not understand why I'm giving you all this effort, time, energy, and you want to do this. So I had to look at myself and realize, like, girl, if you really value yourself, you would have walked away long time ago in the first red flag. Because I had told myself I was not going to be in a situationship because I don't want a situationship. Situationships are not for me. And I guess, I was frustrated because I felt like, God, I prayed about this. I prayed about this before I even met this person. But guess what? You can pray about something, but a lot of the times you will get a counterfeit to test you. And that situation definitely tested me. Because at the end of the day, I still care. I still care, and I still care about him. But I know that for me to protect myself, I can't be wrapped up in everything he's doing, everything he got going on like I was. I can't be available to him like I was. Because it was too hurtful for me, knowing that, like, it would be returned to me void. You know what I mean? Like, excuse me. And he told me from the beginning. So I was like, you too grown to be in situationships. Like, what we doing? So the lesson that I learned in that is to stop giving everything in return for the bare minimum, right? If I'm already giving everything, what incentive does he have to step up? And honestly, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think it's just like, oh, well, he just didn't want you. I think he was scared because he knew I was the real thing and he wasn't ready for it. That's why I think he tried to keep me in this friend zone in his mind, because if I'm a friend, then, it wouldn't, he wouldn't have to feel bad about the way he's moving, right? Or if he mess up, with one of these girls, it's like, oh, whatever, next. But if you mess up with me, it'd be way more impactful because I know for sure that I hold weight with him. So as bad as it hurt me to walk away and not speak again, or for him to walk away and not speak again, I know that it hurts him. I know it does. He won't tell you, but it does. So, so I am going to make a vow to myself to never, do that again as far as accepting or settling for what you know that when you know you deserve better. Because I know I deserve better. I deserve somebody that actually wants what I want, that actually wants to be with me, that actually sees what amazing woman I am and wants to honestly be with me. Not be with me but then say you don't want to be with me. Because that's the thing. He was always with me but didn't want to be with me. That don't make sense. But then he was over here dibbling and dabbling and then telling me I shouldn't be mad because we friends. Oh, all right. So now that I'm out of that, it took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of me just crying to God, because I think that what it brought out of me was a lot of triggers that I still had from other past relationships. And I just realized I gotta let that go. I gotta face it and let it go, and realize that one thing that I did well was address the red flags. I would never feel bad for addressing the red flags, letting him know this is like not what I'm gonna be cool with, and that's it. So, you guys, if you can relate to this story, I hope somebody out there can relate to this, because it is hard out here in these streets. So, be sure to like, be sure to share or comment if you have been through something like this. Let me know. Let's talk about it. If you feel me, let me know. But in the meantime, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you for listening, and I will see you on the next video. Love and light, you guys. Bye.